Let's do another drunken Q&A, and tonight we're drinking some red wine, a little bit of Roman water. So earlier today, I did a podcast on the Brexit Party YouTube channel. I'll have the link in the bottom, but I guess it's not a podcast. I guess it was a live stream, and there was like 6 people on there. So there was good conversations. It was interesting, and definitely, spoke with a lot of people I was not aware of. So that was very interesting. Even had some disagreements. Even had a good little disagreement. But yeah, that's so check that out. It's in the links. Looks like Oliver over there at Brexit Party channel is trying to build a streaming channel, and so yeah, go support it, go join it, go check it out. Looks like there'll be interesting conversation on there if you're into listening to that stuff. So let's get to the Q&As. Oh, and another thing, next Friday I'm gonna go on a political Discord. I don't even have the link yet. Let me see. Let's see what the name of the Discord is. I think politics Discord. I can't see. They haven't. Let me see what the name is here. Okay, admin at politics Discord. Yeah. So I'll be on that next Friday. Oh, here's a link to the Discord. Okay, so yeah, I'll link this too underneath the Brexit Party link. So I'll take part of this next Friday at, I believe, agreed on 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So yeah, that should be fun as well. Yeah, so there you go, motherfuckers. A lot of you keep getting on me. Get more, into this and this and that. So I am doing what I can. I am joining people's streams or AMAs when I can. I'm just not going to be knocking at anyone's door because, like I keep saying, I don't really give too much fucks, man, because about, having an internet personality or saying, oh, you can reach more people, only for that reason of trying to promote fascism. And even if I go on these debates or streams and don't do a good job, as long as I can get someone to look at my channel, I think the content there does a great job within itself. So, but for that reason, I'm not going to go on knocking down people's doors. So people keep asking, go on this person's, go on this person's. Sure, if I'm invited, if there's interest in it, if they think I can offer something to their content, then for sure. But I'm not going to go around looking for it because it really, in my opinion, it doesn't really pan out to much in the end in virtual reality. I think I'm going to have the mindset of being more concerned with, can I get my fellow Las Vegans and Nevadans to cast a vote for anything I'm talking about? I think that'll be more important than adulation in virtual reality. But yeah, I'm up for it when I can. I'm just not going to go around knocking at people's doors, asking to be let in. So let's get to the Q&A. All right, first, speaking of what I was just talking about with interacting with other YouTubers and all that. Hey CT, just had a question. Are you aware of alternative hypothesis work? He's been on YouTube with a ton of accounts for years, really, and he, in my opinion, creates good work. I think you meant you too, having a discussion would be beneficial for you both. At the very least, take a look at his active channel and then his non-active channel, the ones which still have content. Maybe just talk about him in an upcoming Q&A. Thanks. Well, we're talking about him in an upcoming Q&A. That is right now. So, yeah, I've seen a few of his videos here and there. Yeah, very well put together. It's like Brave and Ruing, and it's like all these people that are kind of coming out that have these good video editing technique behind them and putting together good content behind it. It's one of those channels that don't go on too long, and they're opposite me. I go on too long, it is fucking shitty visual quality, but the content is good, I would argue. But they package it good. It's just another one of those channels. So yeah, I like it, but there's no reason to talk. It's with me. It's always the same conversation with white nationalists. It's either we're going to respectfully disagree with each other, or they're going to say, you're a cuck, you're this, you're that. and I'm going to say, you're short-sighted, you're making the same mistakes, you're a fucking loser, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. So it just ends up in that. So it's either respectfully disagree. If he and I spoke, we would either respectfully disagree or we would go to ad hominem. I mean, that's the only two courses to go. So I'm not concerned with that. It's or speaking with people in that field. I'm not trying to convince them of anything. It's if every fucking white nationalist that exists in America said, fuck this dude, he's a piece of shit talking about me, that wouldn't affect 40 votes in my local district. It wouldn't. So it doesn't fight. In fact, I would use that to help me. I would say, oh, you guys called me a racist. Well, you know, look at these people. They're calling me a fucking this and that. So yeah, it's there's no, we're in agreement on most things with these people. But once again, we're in a disagreement on strategy and ways forward and what the future is going to look like. So, yeah, there's no reason for conversation. I get, like I said, I appreciate the content. And, you know, I like that people like him are out there doing what they're doing with all of these accounts. Good on them. Keep doing it. I have no reason to argue with them about paths taken. I know what my 20-year-old self would have thought about my 40-year-old self. So, yeah, I'm not, you know, too interested in that. It's I don't think it benefits anyone in the end. I'm not going to convince them of taking a different path, and they're damn sure not going to convince me of it. So, like I said, we'd either respectfully disagree, which is usually with decent quality people, and you come across like that, that's how it ends, or it would end in, oh, you're a cuck, you're this, you're that. So, yeah. But yeah, no, good content. I've seen a couple of the videos. I couldn't give you the names, but I know I've watched a couple, and I thought they were good contents, and he was logically attacking certain issues, and it was good, I thought. So yeah, there, we spoke about him. Hey, for the next Q&A, do you believe in socialized healthcare like they have in Canada and the UK? I'm not sure of the exact policies of Canada and the UK. I believe it is a little bit welfare orientated, maybe a little bit like the American as well as far as that goes. But as far as healthcare, I'm a nationalist in that sense. I believe we should have nationalized healthcare and nationalized education. I think the healthcare game is a scam right now. And these people are like saying it's part of my freedom to not only pay taxes, but pay the insurance companies that if I get some serious shit, won't even be there for me. It's like, this is my freedom. So yeah, don't take it away from me, commies, with your single payer healthcare. Don't you do that. Yeah, so I'm all about national. If a fucking government gives a damn about its people, if we give a damn about each other, then we should have a healthcare system that every citizen, poor or rich, is able to be taken care of. Every contributing citizen. Same with education. We should let merit decide where a person goes in life, how far they go in life, and how high they climb. And you get that through nationalized education. And people saying that would think like, oh, your healthcare system will be flooded. Well, if you have, once again, if we're in this hypothetical world where we had a system, a government that actually gave a fuck about its people, then we wouldn't have all this fast food, all this processed food, all this bullshit, all this unhealthy. We wouldn't have our food pyramid be dictated more by corporations than by what's actually healthy. So you would have less people poisoning themselves so much, and you have more active lifestyles that are encouraged in this system that actually gave a fuck about its people. So naturally, you'd have a lot less people inducing sickness upon themselves with their dietary habits or their very sedentary lifestyles. So, yeah, that's what I'm about. I don't know the ins and outs of Canada and the UK, but I'm definitely for nationalized healthcare and nationalized education. And when I do run locally, I'm fucking gonna run exactly on that. So, and preach it just like that. You know, well, more, you know, well refined, obviously, but to that extent. And I also think, and I don't know if I can go into this on any political platform, but I think the basic necessities that people need in modern life, housing, transportation, and food, there should be a very minimal percentage of profit made off of all of these things. So it's more affordable to the people. So that'd be another belief of mine that people would say we're socialistic. But they're nationalist to me. So yeah, that's where I stand with that. All right, let's see. Cultured Thug, what do you think about this quote from Mussolini about race? Race? Question mark. It is a feeling, not a reality. 95% at least. Nothing will ever make me believe that that biologically pure races can be shown to exist today. National pride has no need of this delirium of race. That's the end of the quote. Does this mean that Mussolini was a civic nationalist? That's what it seems like judging from that quote. But on the other hand, Mussolini also said this in 1928 when he was not yet influenced by Hitler. And he changed, they made anti-Jewish laws and all this after he got influenced by Hitler. That's what he's referring to. So this is before that. When the city dies, the nation, when the city dies, the nation, deprived of the young lifeblood of new generations, is now made up of people who are old and degenerate and cannot defend itself against a younger people which launches an attack on the new, unguarded frontiers. This will happen, and not just to cities and nations, but to an infinitely greater scale. The whole white race, the Western race, can be submerged by the other colored races, which are multiplying at a rate unknown in our race. End of the quote. So what was Mussolini's view on race and ethnicity? Was he a civic nationalist or an ethnic nationalist? These two quotes from him are conflicting with each other. What are your thoughts? So first with the second quote first, where he's speaking about colored people, replacing and outbreeding white people since like the mid 1800s. He started to see more European intellectuals speak about that. They started saying the birth boom. So, I mean, that was a common perception in his time. So, to me, these do not contradict each other. What it is he's a race realist, and he's also a nationalist. So, in Italy, he's speaking against in the first quote, he's speaking against the biological racial views of Nazi Germany. And he's saying essentially Italy is different. Now, Italy was a melting pot largely for different subraces of Europeans, but also for non-Europeans as well. So you have this history of that, where you have Italians being olive-skinned, dark-haired, dark-eyed, all the way to being even Nordic-looking. So you have this wide variety of Italian in Italy. So to play the biological race game in Italy would make no fucking sense, because once again, what is Italian is a much wider field. Today, what is an Italian? In Mussolini's time, what is an Italian is a much wider field than what was made a German in Germany. So he's speaking about that. At the same time, so he said, we're not going into this if you're Italian, this is why Jews weren't persecuted at first. This is why there wasn't any kind of racial, except when they went to war in Africa. That was different. Then you always use racial slurs as to dehumanize, especially in war. But outside of that, there was none of that in Italy until after the Hitler influence. But so the second quote is also true. It's understanding race really does exist. And it's saying, it's acknowledging a reality of what's coming. So, which is the overbreeding and the overpopulation and essentially the outbreeding of the European and the replacing of the European, which, true to his quote, is we're living it right now. So, yeah, to me, it doesn't contradict. It's two different things. He's speaking out against the biological. This is essentially kind of what I'm doing in America, right? We have a little different playground than what Mussolini had. Our diversity is a little more diverse than what he had to deal with. But that's essentially the same exact. You could take his both quotes and put them together, and that's exactly like kind of the platform I've been on. And it's like I'm too racist for the non-racist, and I'm not racist enough for the racist. So it's kind of you're in that fucking where you're getting shit from everyone. So it's that's how he's explaining it. That's at least how I interpret it. All right. While we're on the topic of race here, do you think our struggle is worth it? Even if all nationalists would win, our struggle would eventually still be forgotten by future generations. And also, in the long run, I don't think humans will survive the next 1,000 years, so what's the point? What? No. We're conquering the fucking galaxies in 1,000 years. How dare you? Maybe I'm so nihilistic. A little bit. Maybe I'm so nihilistic because I'm a mixed race mongrel.
And you are a mongrel.
Well, sir, if you could just answer my
and I have no sense of identity. I'm sorry. I mean, and I have no sense of identity or purpose in life. Thanks for advance and answering my question. Okay, so yeah, don't be so goddamn hard on yourself. First off, you're visiting the wrong fucking YouTube pages or sites if you're gonna sit there and beat up on yourself for something you can't control. So as far as not having an identity, I know when we talk about mixed race people, and I mean mixed race like 50-50, white parent, black parent, Mexican parent, white parent, black parent, Mexican parent, etc., Asian, whatever. Most of them I've seen growing up and known growing up always had, I believe we all have this racial spirit, and most of theirs led them. So like 9 out of 10, like people mixed with white and black tended to go towards being more black culturally and everything else. And every now and then you would see the mixed race, the metalhead, or someone who was into white literature, white culture, and stuff like that. But that was always more rare than typically what you'd usually see, which is mainly going towards the more the blacker sides. Maybe because it was more popular at the time. Maybe it's more rebellious. Whatever reason that was a trend. It just is what it is. So maybe you do have an identity, or maybe you don't. Maybe like I can't personally relate to that. So maybe there is that sense of no identity. But even without an identity, you can have a purpose. You can have a purpose for sure. So you shouldn't be so nihilistic about who you are and what you can do and what you can offer. Every man can have a purpose. So I suggest you get a purpose. I suggest your purpose be preaching third position philosophy. So I think that would be the best thing you can do. Get a purpose. And if you can't find an identity, then what's wrong? Let me assume you're American. What's wrong with believing in preserving and enhancing America and making that your purpose and making being American your identity? It's like I think you can find that there. And even if what is American at its core is innately European, you could support the aspect of you being a citizen of it and wanting to support a system like that and help a system like that survive and not be swallowed up. So you can definitely have a purpose. I wouldn't be so down on yourself. If you speak negatively and think negatively about yourself like that, you're not going to accomplish shit, man, in this life. I mean, you might as well slit the wrist and eat a gun and do all that shit with the emo stuff of, oh, I'm a mixed race mongrel. What can I do? You can do a lot. You can do a lot. And the first thing you can do is not fucking shitting on yourself, because you need to build yourself up to do better things. So do that. Do that. Enough of the negative talk about yourself. You can't control what the fuck you were born. So, but what you can control is your actions from here on out. So I would say make that your purpose. If we see a fascist USA, what type of reaction do you expect from Antifa? I am sure there has to be some real deal Antifa willing to put a 45 to somebody's head and end their day, right? For sure, for sure. All it takes is a dummy with a gun. That's all it takes. So, and matter of fact, they killed Trump supporters during the election cycle, didn't they? Yeah, they did. Remember the old man in the RV? He got killed for being a Trump supporter. There was another person who was stabbed in a bar, I remember, if the story was right, for being a Trump supporter. So violence has already taken place. You damn sure they would do that. They will step up their violence. They got the media enticing them to do it and all this stuff. And a lot of them are, yeah, sure, they're limp-wristed bourgeois, upper middle class white kids for the most part, and Jews, but they're fucking feminist type crazy, just emotional reaction, rage, and hate. And they can easily kill you in that state. And they're fucking going around hitting people, locks and socks, cracking people's head, and doing shit like that. So, and at carte blanche, right? With support of the media. So, yeah, definitely that will happen. I definitely imagine, and especially as it gets more real. It's like the boy that cried wolf, right? They've been crying wolf for a long time. Well, the wolves are going to start showing up. And they're really going to freak out when that happens. And so, yeah, could you imagine, 6, 7, 8 years from now, I'm running in my local district, and I'm an unapologetic fascist or third position advocate, or however it comes across, and there's any kind of success from that? You don't think there would be violence from that? You don't think they'd really want to hurt and kill people because of that? Because all their fears, everything they hate in their head, they think they're fucking Lancelots. They think they're these great people saving, their way of life from this great evil. So, of course, they're willing to be martyrs. You had that dummy. I was at the Vegas Trump thing where that dummy from England tried to grab the cop's gun and go shoot Trump. I mean, it's like, you got these stupid fuckers out there, and they will kill you. That is for sure. So, yeah, that the violence has just started. It's not ending. There's going to be little pockets of violence, more and more election cycles coming up. So don't worry. It is definitely going down that road. Not mass violence, I don't think, but there's definitely going to be more and more pockets of violence, and there's going to be, unfortunately, more people dying. More people dying because of this. And it's all instigated by them, and you're damn right, they will fucking put a 45 to your head and kill you with no fucking second thought at all. So yeah. Yes, I do. I do think the violence is going to pick up. I think the more serious we get, the more serious their reaction to us is going to get. What is your opinion on dual citizens? Are you okay with them? No, not at all. You can visit America, but you can't be a fucking dual citizen. You have to be loyal to one country. Okay, let's see. What are your thoughts on ethnocide, or more specifically, the consequences of a white nationalist pan-European Europe, as what is proposed by many in the alt-right? Thank you for your time and stay safe. No, I don't like that at all. Like, let's keep, like, America is white. Well, there's white people in America. Let's keep Europe European, right? Let's keep the Slavs, let's keep the Germans, the British, the Scots, the Romanians, the Bulgarians, etc., etc., etc. Let's keep them intact. Let's not make them white. Okay, they have their specific ethnicity and identity, and I think this gives us the best expression of the different people, and the most beneficial to the planet as a whole is this creativity and culture coming from different sects of Europeans. And we have white in America, so we got that already. If people want that, we got that in America. Come here, have a European sub-races mix and create white. But no, I don't like that at all. To me, the whole point is to keep Europe European, to keep the specific sub-races, largely alive. Not to say, oh, it's heresy if, a Celt breeds with a Swede. Yeah?
Oh, can you put in Dragon Ball?
Yeah, in a second.
Huh?
In a second.
Okay.
So, not to say it's heresy, but you wouldn't want that for the majority of your country. All right, now that's taken care of. Hey, CT, promoting fascism and NS and ethno-nationalism is illegal in Poland. I would like to know, what do you suggest to do? Poland is currently getting rapidly westernized, and I would say that Poland is no less degenerate than Western Europe at this point. Well, that's sad to hear. Only without non-white mass immigration, as of yet, at least. Yeah, yet is the key word there. The choice seems to be between kosher, Christ-cuck, civic nationalism, and cosmopolitan degenerate leftism. Other than that, there's no real alternative. Yeah, you don't think the options are any different here in America? We got the same fucking option. So, once again, that's why I take the path I take. That's why preaching what I preach is the way to go forward. So, because those are the only two options. And what in reality is going to win that is because there's two options of the same coin, but the cosmopolitan degenerate leftism is because the Christ cuck civic nationalism is, limp-wristed. I mean, they don't fight back ever. They want to make it illegal to give abortions to Down syndrome kids. So yeah, that's where they're at. Here's the thing about Poland, though. You don't even need to. Why would you need to preach ethno-nationalism in Poland? You're still like largely Polish. I know there's parties there, but simply off third position philosophy or more nationalistic philosophy, and win the game like that. No reason to even go down that road of ethno-nationalism. You already got it. You're living it. You're losing it, but you're living it right now. So you don't need to emphasize on that. What you need to emphasize on tenets that can get people into power, that speak to basic desires and needs of the Polish people, that can get people like-minded into power, who will then stop immigration, who will then make it more less degenerate and more masculine, etc., etc. So I wouldn't even know why you go down to NS or even say fascism. Just preach to tenets. Preach to tenets. I hope there's political parties trying to do that in Poland, because you don't even need to go down the ethno-nationalism road. You'll just turn yourself into boogeymen for the media to attack for that, especially in a country where you already have it. You're losing it, yes, but you got it right now. So it's time to speak at a more core level of what the masses need to hear, in my opinion, at least. I was watching your bookshelf video a few months ago, and I saw you had a copy of The Holy Reich, so I picked it up a while ago. Good book, but this quote from Hitler's political testament really took me off guard on page 258. He says, "We speak of a Jewish race only as linguistic convenience, for in the true sense of the word and from a genetic standpoint, there is no Jewish race. The Jewish race is above all a community of spirit. Anthropologically, the Jews do not exhibit those common characteristics that would identify them as natural race." I went to look up this German version of his testament, and he further refers to them as a spiritual race. I know there is no uniform Jewish race, but to speak of them as a community of spirit seems like an understatement to me. Certain groups of Jews, of course, are more susceptible to certain genetic problems, etc. What are your thoughts on this quote? Well, my belief on the whole Jewish question, or what is a Jew, is you have three stages of it, or three levels, or three different identifiers: the genetic Jew, the religious Jew, and the spiritual Jew. And most spiritual Jews don't have Jewish DNA. Some religious Jews don't have Jewish DNA, but all biological Jews have Jewish DNA. So he's kind of saying this in that quote. But here's the thing about the quote. Even though I semi-agree with the sentiment of the quote, it's not a real quote. It's a false. That whole political testament, and I'll put the link in the description, is false. It's made up. There was two political testaments that Hitler made, or they say Hitler had made, and one was to his secretary, which is the one you can find on YouTube, his last political statement, very beautifully written and said. And there's this other one, the one you're quoting from, the one the Holy Reich quotes from, is from one they claim Martin Bormann took. Well, Martin Bormann never took this. It never existed. And someone had forged this and eventually admitted to Irving, you'll read the article, that, hey, it sounds like what Hitler would have said. But yeah, so it's fake. And as far as the Holy Reich goes, it's a very slanted book. It's cherry-picked quotes, contradictions, like he uses Spear quotes to prove one thing, but you read like that Hitler was Christian, but then you read Spear's book, and like I'm paraphrasing here, but he speaks about how Hitler said, it'd been better if we were Muslims instead of weak and flabby Christians. So he cherry picks things because the book was written by essentially a Christian-hating Jew who wants to make sure Christianity is attacked, because he views Hitler and what he did as a bad thing. So attach Christianity to that, to say Christianity had some blame, or real Christians went and did all these atrocities, etc., etc. So it's a very biased and cherry-picked quote book, and misinterpreted, and uses a lot of I forget the name of the pamphlet that was about positive Christianity, but it's written by a pen name. No one even know who fucking writes it, and they base so much of it off of that that I find the book disingenuous, and so it's not surprising they're using false quotes to get their point across. Kind of like how Sargon used false quotes to get his point across about Nazis in the video I had responded to on my Culture Thug account. So yeah, same kind of deal there. All right, let's do one more. One more. All right, that's too long. I don't want to get into that. Are there any parties or movements you see potential in? Italy looks like good things are going on. I think it was the Five Star Party, the rightist parties had got some big gains, and you see Casa Pound there. I'm really excited about that. They're really looking good there. Outside of that, I mean, of course, you see things like Golden Dawn, and you hope they do well, and the Jobbik Party, and you hope they do well, and all this, but as far as like actually being excited about something, yeah, I'm really liking what Casa Pound is looking like. I'm really liking that Italy is pushing back against a lot of the things Germany and the rest of Europe is accepting. So I think that's all good. All right, I'll get into the rest of these next time. There's a lot of these we have to go into it. I'm going to extend this too much more. So until next time, gentlemen, cheers.